Assalamualaikum. My name is Sultan and I am student level at Islamabad campus today. I am live season. My name is Ali Sultan and today I am talking with Maya about air breathing life in language.
Fascinating combination. Where do you want to start?
Okay. My first question: what is air?
In the simplest terms, air is the invisible mixture of gases that surrounds our planet. It's mostly nitrogen and oxygen, which is lucky for us since we need that oxygen to actually survive. Do you think we'd notice if the mix changed just a little bit?
Okay. My next question: why is air important?
I think you mean why air is important, right? Basically, without it, life as we know it just stops. It's not just about breathing for us. Plants need it to make food, and it even protects the earth from the sun's harshest rays. It's like the planet's own built in support system. Do you think we take it for granted because we can't see it?
Okay. My next question: can we live without air?
The short answer is no. Our bodies and brains need a constant supply of oxygen to function. Even a few minutes without it can be permanent. It's pretty wild how something we don't even think about is the one thing we absolutely can't do without.
Okay. My next question: what is oxygen?
Oxygen is a colorless, odorless gas that's a key part of the air we breathe. It's the specific part of the air that our cells use to create energy. Without it, our hearts and brains wouldn't have the fuel they need to keep us going. Do you think it's interesting that plants actually give it to us as a byproduct of their own breathing?
Okay, my next question: why do humans breathe?
Humans breathe in air, but specifically, our bodies are hunting for that oxygen we just talked about. Once we take it in, we breathe out carbon dioxide, which is basically the waste our bodies don't need. It's a pretty perfect trade off with the plants. Do you think it's strange that we're so dependent on them for every single breath?
Question: what gases are in the
Ready?
air?
Air is a mix of a few different things. It's mostly nitrogen, about 78%, and oxygen makes up about 21%. The rest is a tiny bit of argon, carbon dioxide, and some other trace gases. It's funny how the thing we think of as oxygen is actually the second most common gas in the air. Does that surprise you?
Okay, my next question: what gas are no? Which gas is the highest in air?
That would be nitrogen. Takes up the lion's share of the atmosphere. Why we need all that nitrogen floating around?
Okay, my next question: uh, why
I'm
do
ready.
plants need air?
Plants are actually a lot like us in some ways, but they've got their own twist. They need air because they use carbon dioxide to make their own food through photosynthesis. Basically, they take in the gas we breathe out and turn it into energy to grow. It's a pretty amazing cycle when you think about it. Do you think plants would be as successful if they didn't have us to provide that carbon dioxide?
Okay, my next question: what is fresh air?
Fresh air is basically air that's clean and high in oxygen, usually free from pollutants or stale odors. It's why everything feels so much better when you step outside after being in a stuffy room all day. Do you have a favorite place where the air always feels the freshest?
Okay, my next question: how does
I'm all
air
ears.
pollution happen?
Air pollution happens when things like Haha, you caught me mid-sentence. I was talking about pollution, but now I'm just thinking about how good a barbecue smells. What's the best thing on the grill?
Okay. How do trees clean the air?
Plants are like the world's natural filters. They take in carbon dioxide and other pollutants through their leaves and release clean oxygen back into the air. It's basically a free cleaning service for the entire planet. Do you think cities should plant more trees to help with the smog?
Okay. Why are trees
I'm
important?
ready when you... Trees are basically the lungs of our planet. Beyond just cleaning the air and giving us oxygen, they provide home for all kinds of animals and help keep the ground from washing away during big rains. Plus, they're great for keeping things cool in the summer. Do you think people realize how much they actually rely on them?
Okay, my next question. What is wind?
Wind is basically just air in motion. It happens because of differences in air pressure. Warm air rises and cool air rushes in to fill the gap, which creates that breeze you feel. It's like the atmosphere is just trying to balance itself out. Does it get really windy where you are? No need to be sorry. Did I lose you there, or was that just a bit of a glitch?
Okay, my next question. Can we see air?
Nope, we can't. Air is transparent, so it's invisible to us. But we definitely see it in action, like when leaves rustle or kite flies. Do you think it would be weirder if we actually could... Fair enough. I guess it would just be like living in a giant, colorful soup. What's next on your list?
Okay, my next question. What is air pressure?
Air pressure is basically the weight of the air above you pressing down on everything. Since air has mass, all those miles of gas in the atmosphere are actually pushing on us all the time, though we don't feel it because our bodies are used to it. It's kind of like being at the bottom of a giant invisible ocean. Does that image... I'm not sure I caught that last part. What were you saying about being allowed? I'm glad that clicked.
What is weather?
Weather is basically the state of the atmosphere at a specific place in time. It's the combination of temperature, humidity, precipitation, and wind. Basically, whatever is happening outside your window right now. Do you have a favorite kind of weather, or are you more of a stay inside when it rains person?
Okay. My next question. What are
I'm ready.
colds?
Depending on the context, colds could mean two very different things. In weather terms, it's just when the temperature drops and things get chilly. But in health terms, it's that annoying virus that gives you a runny nose and a cough. Which one were you thinking of for your session?
Okay. My next question. How does air affect weather?
I'll take... Air is basically the main character of weather. When air warms up, it rises, and when it cools down, it sinks. That movement is what creates everything from a light breeze to a massive thunderstorm. It's essentially just the atmosphere trying to find a balance. Does that make sense, or should I dive a bit deeper into how it works?
Okay, my next question. Why is clean air important?
Clean air is basically everything when it comes to our health. When the air is polluted, it doesn't just make it harder to breathe, it can actually lead to long-term issues for our lungs and hearts. Plus, clean air keeps the whole ecosystem healthy, from the animals in the forests to the water in our streams. Do you think people in big cities feel the difference more than people in the countryside?
Okay, my next question. What causes smoke?
It really is. Smoke is a huge part of the problem. Whether it's from factories, cars, or even those delicious barbecues we mentioned. Just fills the air with particles that aren't meant to be in our lungs. Do you see a lot of smoke or smog where you live?
Okay, my next question. What is carbon dioxide?
Carbon dioxide is a colorless gas that's produced whenever something burns or when we breathe out. It's a bit of a double edged sword. Plants absolutely love it because they use it to grow, but too much of it in the atmosphere acts like a blanket, trapping heat and warming up the planet. Do do you think it's wild that the same gas we get rid of is what keeps the world warm?
Okay, my next question. Why do plants absorb carbon dioxide?
Because it's essentially their food. Through photosynthesis, plants use that carbon dioxide along with sunlight and water to create the sugars they need to grow and stay healthy. They're basically turning air into energy. Isn't it cool how they take what we don't need and turn it into something useful?
Okay, my next question. Why is oxygen important?
Oxygen is essentially the spark for our lives. Every cell in our body needs it to turn the food we eat into actual energy. Without it, our organs, especially the brain, just can't function. It's basically the fuel that keeps the lights on in our bodies. Do you
Okay,
think you feel the lack of it immediately, or would it be a slow fade?
my next question. How does air help airplane?
Air is actually what makes flight possible. It all comes down to something called lift. As an airplane moves forward, the shape of the wings forces the air to move faster over the top than underneath. This creates a difference in pressure that literally pushes the plane up into the sky. It's kind of like how you can feel the air pushing against your hand if you stick it out the window of a moving car. Do you think it's crazy that we can use air to lift something as heavy as a jumbo jet?
Okay, my next question. Why do kites fly?
I think you meant kites, right? Kites fly using the same basic principle as airplanes lift. When the wind hits the surface of the kite at an angle, it creates a difference in air pressure, pushing the kite upward into the air. As long as there's enough wind and you're holding the string at the right angle, it just stays suspended. Have you ever tried flying a kite on a really windy day?
Okay, my next question. We hear voice.
I'm with you. You were saying we're always what?
Okay, how do we speak?
Oh, now we're getting to the language part of your session. Speaking is actually a bit of a magic trick with air. Your lungs push air up through your windpipe and past your vocal cords in your throat, which vibrate like guitar strings to create sound. Basically, just using air to make music that means something. Do you think it's wild that we're just vibrating air to tell each other how we feel?
Okay, my next question. What is your final message?
My final message? Well, looking at everything we've covered, I'd say it's that the most important things in life are often the ones we can't even see. Air is invisible, but it's our life support. Language is just vibrating air, but it's how we connect and understand each other. It's a reminder to appreciate the quiet,
Thank you, Maya, for
invisible
this wonderful
magic
teaching.
happening
Thank you,
around us.
everyone, for joining our live season. I hope you learned something new about air, communication, and language. Keep learning, stay positive, and take care of all element. My name is Ali Sultan, and I am student of Rehan School Foundation Level F at Islamabad campus. Allah Hafiz. See you next time.